Welcome back to Adventures with Rosie. Today we're talking caravan, motorhome, RV security. Not just any old security, we're talking the full package, both inside and outside, and we're doing that with the WiTi anti-theft system, this cool little unit right here. We're going to do an unboxing of this, we're going to talk about what the system does, we're going to get it installed, and then we're going to give it a little test out and give it a review. Let's get into it. Alright, full disclaimer before we get into this unboxing. The good people at WiTi, Kevin there, actually send us this unit for free, which is very generous of them. Thank you very much. They also send us their wireless brake controller, which pairs with this unit. This allows us to adjust the caravan brakes from within our car wirelessly. It's got some cool features as well, which are actually built into this unit. So yeah, we were talking about this in a live stream about how when we got our new caravan we would love to buy the WiTi anti-theft system. Kevin reached out to us on Instagram and said, hey, if you make a video, I'll send you one. So he's not telling me what to say to you, he's not paying me to say this to you, he has given me this unit for free though, so just full disclosure up the top. But you're probably wondering, what is the system that I keep waving around? So basically think of this little box here as inside and outside, internal and external security for your caravan. This little thing gets wired up under the bed, and for the external component, basically what happens is when you've armed your caravan or your RV and someone tries to steal it, there's a rather sensitive gyroscope in this unit and it detects that movement and it locks your caravan brakes. Immediately locks your caravan brakes. That's not all it does. It also has a siren which it sets off in the box, and it's hooked up to your external lights. Your indicators will start flashing, the siren will start going off. The actual caravan, the brakes are completely locked. So someone would literally have to drag your caravan away with all that racket going on, in order to steal it. It also has a couple of cool little sensors you can put inside your caravan, which is one thing I've never really thought about, but that's protecting your gear that's inside, like this camera and that sort of thing, laptops, that sort of thing. So a cool little magnetic door sensor and also a motion sensor. And the whole thing just alarms like you normally would arm a car. You arm it with that, boop boop, walk away. This little system's protecting your caravan, so pretty cool. The wireless electric brake controller, which I'll talk about in a sec, also ties in with this unit. And there is a GPS unit as well, which also ties into this unit. If you want even more security, you can plug a GPS unit into here. And we'll cover that off in a future video because WiTi have sent us one of those as well, which I'm excited about. So yeah, let's get stuck into what's in the box. Everyone loves a good unboxing here on YouTube. So in the box we have the brain, I'll call this, that I've been waving around this whole time. This gets mounted up under your, I guess like under furniture, under the bed or something, probably close to the battery, and it has a big plug on the bottom. And that plugs into the wiring loom, which comes with it. It's quite a daunting looking loom when you first look at it, but everything is kind of quite well labelled. So this basically just hooks up to all the various systems. You've got your plug for your GPS if you want to add that on, the brakes, the reversing lights, the indicators, obviously your power and your ground and your negative terminal, all that sort of stuff. A couple of inline fuses as well. And so yeah, that's what gets wired up by your auto electrician. Wiring loom there, 105 decibel horn, as I said earlier, which also gets wired up to it. Pretty meaty looking metal horn there. I imagine that's very loud. We'll test that out at the end of the video. Your PIR motion sensor, similar, like I said, to a sensor you'd see in an office, with a red light on it. And that comes with a little mounting kit. It's on a little swivel, a couple of screws. You screw it up and swivel that around. Pretty cool and sleek looking magnetic door switch. So these just 3M sticky on, and one part goes on the door, one part goes on the door frame, and obviously when it's armed and that connection's broken, that sets your alarm off. Kevin at WiTi was telling me that some people buy these for their external lockers as well, because if you have say expensive fishing rods, stand-up paddle boards, you might even have your bikes in a locker in a big motorhome, you can purchase these additionally and just pair them with the WiTi system. So kind of a cool idea if you have two doors in your motorhome, or like I said, lockers even the barbecue. Probably be good to have one of those on the, on the locker that has the Weber in it, because they're a fair few $100. You get a couple of stickers that say protected by WiTi anti-theft system, which is cool. This is your first line of defense, I guess, the deterrent on the door. Someone's trying to jimmy your door open and they see that and go, okay. And you get 2 of the little remotes for arming the system. So they have a cool little cover that stops you accidentally arming them. Slide this little cover down and you've got your buttons there to arm the unit. Pretty cool. Always handy to have a spare one of these. So a cool little piece of technology that WiTi also do, which they also sent me, which I'm really stoked on, thanks guys, is the electric brake controller. Wireless, I should have mentioned. This little guy here, this tiny little guy here, sits in your car and it talks wirelessly to this anti-theft system. Because this anti-theft system is already wired into your brakes, you can basically control your brakes and how much braking you have wirelessly with this little unit. So you plug that into the cigarette lighter in your car, turn the little dial on the front to set the desired braking level. You can push it in for an emergency stop, but essentially that saves you the hassle and the time and the money of getting a brake controller installed in your car. I know some caravans will have one on the drawbar, but the downside to that is you can't adjust that on the fly. And I know for you guys in Australia that are watching, I think it's also a requirement there legally to be able to push a button and in an emergency and lock the brakes in your caravan to straighten yourself out if you're fishtailing or something like that. It's not a requirement here in New Zealand, but it is a very handy feature. There were a few times when we were traveling around the South Island last year that I would get to the top of a big hill, I would pull the car in the caravan over somewhere, I would run down to the drawbar and I would bump the brakes up a little bit, go down the hill, pull over at the bottom and turn the brakes back down again. So I'm pretty excited to be able to do that from within the comfort of the car now without having to leave the car. Now speaking of hills, there is a pretty cool system that WiTi have in this little unit, and that is their Hill Descend Assist. I just had to read that off my notes just to make sure I was getting the right name. So proportional brake controllers use inertia to work out how much force, how much braking force they need to apply to the caravan. So when you apply the brakes in the car, they then apply it to the caravan. The downside to that is that when you're coasting down a hill and you're just feathering the brake just to maintain speed, you're not actually creating any sort of inertia. So your caravan braking there's no braking force being applied to your caravan. Unless you kind of press, hard on the brake pedal, the caravan brakes will kick in. The Hill Descend Assist in this little unit, well, I guess it's built into the brain, but it's pretty cool. What it does is it calculates the angle of descent and adds a percentage of brake to the brake controller depending on how steep your descent is. So if you have, say, a 15-degree descent, there'll be X percentage of brake on top of what you've got set on the screen applied to assist. The steeper the hill, the more brake it automatically applies. I had a quick Google because WiTi say that's a unique feature. I couldn't find any other brake controllers that say they do the same thing. So that is a very cool feature. So you do not need to worry too much about going, oh no, I'm going down a steep hill and turning this up while you're figuring everything else out. This unit will automatically apply a little bit more braking depending on how steep that hill is. Another cool feature they have built into it is brake smoothing. And you've probably felt before if you've towed caravans that, especially around town and that sort of thing, that they can be a bit jerky when you come on and off the brakes. Often you'll feel the caravan come off and on the brakes and it kind of jerks you around a bit. All that's smoothed out in this latest iteration of the WiTi, the technology in the brain and the talking. So I'm very keen to test that out, especially around town. Apparently the braking experience is supposed to be a whole lot smoother. So pretty cool piece of kit. Looks pretty sleek as well. That'll sit nicely in the car. It's always powered on. Oop, adjust it and away you go. So the plan now is to actually go over to Tauranga. We're going to go and see Alliance RV, which is a WiTi stockist, and they do all the installation. We're going to go and see them. We talked to them at the show. We've been to them before for servicing and warranty work in our older caravan before. Really nice team over there. So they're going to install it for us. We're going to have a bit of a weekend away there as well. And once installed, I'm going to give it a little bit of a try. I reckon we should arm it and maybe open the door and see what happens. Maybe wait till it gets dark and watch all the lights flash and freak the neighbours out with the alarm. So yeah, we'll get it installed. We'll hopefully get a few shots of the install and then we'll test it out. And also, a few days later, or maybe a week later, we're going to install the GPS. So there's a GPS unit that plugs into this, has a couple of cool options, a really cool app, and will allow us to track the caravan. So yeah, we'll install that unit as well. Alrighty, so we're at Alliance RV this morning over here in Tauranga. There's Rosy dropped off over there. You've probably seen Alliance in a bunch of our videos in the past. We come here for all of our Jayco servicing, so they're a Jayco service agent. They do all the warranty work as well. We had a few issues as you saw in the Jayco caravan, so they sort all those out. They also have a cool showroom here full of stuff. WiTi stockers, they stock the full WiTi system. They've got a display unit as well, so they can actually explain how it works. And a bunch of really cool kind of displays of like Victron setups and solar panels and charge controllers and all that sort of stuff. So the kids found the TVs in there, they're watching cartoons at the moment. And I think they're going to drag it into the workshop soon, and then we might get a couple shots of that and show you the install process. Push and hold.
One side of the door and that'll be attached to the other side of the door. So when the door opens, when you've got the alarm set, it's going to go.
Who's this guy? Alright, so all installed, but how does it perform? So we came back last night over the hill from where we were in Tauranga back to our hometown in Taupo. We drove about 2.5 hours over some hills in the dark, and I was pretty impressed with this little thing. I was really surprised by the brake smoothing technology. Sometimes when you read that sort of thing in like a brochure, you wonder, is it marketing, is it a buzzword, brake smoothing, but when I first pulled out of Alliance RV and I was driving around the industrial area, I actually wondered if it was on, because when I was sort of coming up to roundabouts and braking, it was really smooth. So yeah, it's pretty good. It was awesome. I didn't actually adjust this once on the way home. I set it at about 65, I think I had it at 70, something like that, and just cruised the hills. It must have kicked in. This thing is smooth, seriously cool. Another thing I like is that the little screen on it is quite clear, but it's not bright at night like sometimes, like those phone chargers that have bright green light or something. It's quite it's clear, you can read it, but it's not glowing from your dashboard at night. So yeah, really impressed with that. Awesome brake controller and simple to use. I might just pull that out and put it in the glove box when we're not towing, just so the kids don't play with it. But yeah, cool piece of kit. In terms of the alarm, I'll go outside and show the alarm now. We'll arm the caravan, we'll test it out. It's pretty loud, it's lights flashing, it's quite cool. So yeah, I'll show you through that, and also another feature that I forgot to talk about on the as part of the security system as well. So let's take the camera outside, we will arm the caravan, and then I'll open the door and see what happens. Alright, so arming the caravan's real simple. Once you've hopped out of the caravan and locked the door, you press the A button on here, and the lights will all flash, and after 5 seconds the caravan will be armed. Now, one handy feature that the WiTi unit has is this little red LED that usually gets installed by your door, and that lights up when it's armed. So we now know the system's armed, saves us walking around the back and checking that the lights actually flashed. We can confirm here that the system is armed. Another feature I didn't mention is that the B button on this, if you press and hold the B button on the remote, it's actually a panic alarm. So it will set off the alarm, the lights flashing, until you disarm it, until you press the A button again. So if you were lying in bed and you had this remote handy and something fishy was going on outside, someone snooping around the caravan, you can just press and hold that B button and make sure your door's locked, I guess, and press and hold the B button and they'll run a mile. Kind of a cool feature. I didn't mention that up the top, but yeah. Alright, so you may recall from up the top that there is also a sensor on our door now. So the caravan's currently armed, the red light's on, and if we open our door, which say I forget to lock the door and I open it, It's going to break that sensor, break that connection, and hopefully set the alarm off. If I turn the handle the right way. Just like that. So the other sensor that comes with a WiTi, the PIR sensor, this one here, we mounted it just up, or had it mounted just up here. You do see it flash red. You can switch that off on the side as well if it annoys you at night. Just leave your door sensor on. In theory, if I press this A button and we arm the caravan and I stand very still, the alarm shouldn't go off. If I wave my hands around, the alarm goes off again. So pretty cool system. Yeah, it's awesome. It feels so good to just be able to arm your caravan. You could probably even go as far as like if you're at a campground or freedom camping spot. Maybe you're at a freedom camping spot. You're not sure. You're going to town to do the groceries. Just arm the caravan. Yeah, and that same alarm will go off if someone tries to steal it when this caravan's armed. So pretty cool. You're both protecting the caravan itself, but also internal. Like, you know, there's a sensor there. So even if they jimmied the door sensor, this one's probably going to catch them out. That sort of thing. So yeah, pretty impressive system. I'm stoked with this. Well, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this little product review of the WiTi system. Now, if you have any questions at all about this system and how it works, answer them below in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. If not, I will find out the answer for you. I'll also link WiTi's details, website and socials in the description of this video, so if you want to check them out, go to the website, read a bit more. Really nice people over there at WiTi and a really cool system. I definitely can vouch for this system. Yeah, it's awesome and it's going to be a great asset to this caravan. You spend a lot of money on caravans and RVs, you know, so why not spend an extra few $100s to get a good system installed that you know is going to do the job. Yeah, just that bit of peace of mind, I suppose. I'll also link Alliance RV's details below if you want to go and check them out. They do heaps of cool stuff, really nice people over there. We did the sort of same day sort of service, which was awesome. So we dropped the caravan off, went to the beach, you know, and picked the caravan up that night. Really nice people over there, Brendan and his wife that run Alliance RV. You'll see them at the shows as well. They're really good for accessories as well. Good accessories. You might have seen me on that TV in their showroom for a lock review I did, a hitch lock review I did years ago, and they still use my face on the screen, which is pretty cool. Now I know what you're thinking, and one question that has probably come up throughout this is, what if you don't turn the system on, right? What if you don't arm the system? That, I think, is the weak link in this whole, generally the weak link in any sort of security is the human, right? It's me. I forget to push the button, I forget to lock something, I forget to lock my house and my house gets burgled. I'm the weak link. Now there is an answer to that, and that is this little guy here, and that is the WiTi GPS unit. This little guy here will track your caravan anywhere in the world. It plugs into the WiTi unit. It's just an add-on, and yeah, WiTi are pretty generous to send me one of these. So in a couple of videos time, I'm going to install this. I'm going to show you through the app. It's got some cool features, but I think that this is the final bit of peace of mind. I've got all the external security, all the locks on the lockers and the spare wheel and the gas bottles. This thing's alarmed, there's sensors on it, you can't steal it. But this is the real peace of mind, I think, for me, is that if I forget to alarm this, or yeah, you know, forget to put one of the padlocks on, the hitch lock on, or something like that, this is going to track it. So yeah, stay tuned, we'll install that in a future video, and thank you as always for watching. Appreciate your support here on the channel. Have a good afternoon, or morning, or evening, wherever you are. See you later.